What's up, guys? Mega Bleeder here with another episode of Star Technology. In this episode, I want to do a little bit of a channel update and a base update. So let's get started. So I wanted to walk through in cinematic mode here, giving a little bit of a base tour while I talk about channel update and the base update. So for starters, the channel update. So we are well over 600 subs now, doing a great job. And I say we because I cannot do it alone. I could not do it alone. Seeing the support for the videos makes everything a lot of fun, makes building everything a lot of fun, makes it easier to do some of these big complex builds that I've been working on. And they're not necessarily like absolutely massive in the scale of what is possible through Minecraft, but I think they've been a lot of fun, and I've been trying to be pretty creative with some of the things that I do. So we've got our first LV platform here. We started over there on our skyblock grass patch like you normally do in a skyblock, and we expanded the base through a lot of different means and areas. Over here, we are making biodiesel, but it's been a ton of fun playing and having you guys here along the way. So along with hitting 600 subs, we also recently made the YouTube partner program. And I definitely mean we, because again, couldn't do it without you guys. The subscribers, the likers, the commenters, stuff like that makes a big, big difference. Over here, we've got our tech expansion, getting into power, stuff like that. Along with the YouTube partner program, you get to go through the first stage of monetization, which is a ton of fun. It's going to let me do a little bit more stuff through the channel and keep expanding, trying to bring more and more content to you guys, not just in the form of YouTube videos, but as in the form of just things that we could do participating as a community. So what I am going to do is be starting up a members only Minecraft server. What I want to do on the server is have a space where everybody can kind of just come together, members on the channel, and participate. I think it'd be really fun to do like a weekly or bi-weekly video going through and just going into people's bases or the main base, whatever it is that we decide to do, and just kind of exploring and seeing what everybody has built so far. I think that would be a lot of fun, working through everything together. Head over here to our ore factory. So over here we made, this is where we've got igneous extruders set up, making tons of cobblestone. These are our mechanical sieves. Sieves. I didn't go over here into the basement. This is the basement platform for this area. A built-up basement. Down here we're doing more sieving, some more plate making, some alloying over here for the basic resources. I also have some farms set up, some crushers. This was kind of a catch-all area in the beginning. But through that community server that I want to run, we should be able to have a lot of fun doing that. I've got a poll up asking, what you guys might want to play. And right now it looks like we're going to go with a harder pack than something like ATM or MC Eternal. Got some votes for stuff like Moni Factory, which is a Greg Tech based pack. That could be a lot of fun as well. Over here is where the base expansion is really starting to take off. That server should be a lot of fun. I don't plan on stopping this world. I am really hitting some fun strides with this, having a lot of fun automating everything still, expanding on the base, more processes, more automated resources, and just letting everything just really go to town. This is my first time playing with Greg Tech, and it's been a lot of fun exploring stuff. Basic stuff, the single block machines, that's not too much different than what other mods have to offer. It's when we start getting into multi-blocks is when things change, because the machine gets upgraded through different energy hatches, different automation ways. You can do wall sharing. We got a triple blast furnace over here. Over here, we've got some multi-smelters that are actually stacked on their side. Got some fun automation using AE2, just inserting items into patterns into the molecular assembler. So we just insert the items and it spits them out like that. A big blast furnace tower. So in that poll, like I said, you guys were asking for something a little bit harder. Go up into our clean room. We used the first floor of the clean room so far. Haven't really used the second floor for much. Continued to expand our base over here. I think it looks pretty neat looking down from this walkway. Looking down at the workshop, the machines. Probably should have some guardrails over here. We got a OSHA inspection come through. They would be pretty upset. You can come down our stairs, checking out this platform. So obviously over here, a lot more multi-blocks set up and organized. Some AE2 subnets. This was my first expansion into using subnets for individual platforms. So it's a little bulky and messy over there. I definitely cleaned it up. This would be the second area that I moved into on this platform. And the subnet got a lot cleaner, as you can see. So just bringing in a main connection from the white cable there, and then going up into the blue subnet. So the main network is on the white cables. Can I zoom? I can zoom. So getting stuff automated on individual subnets. That way we're not just jamming our AE2 controller. Got some solar panels over here set up for some passive power. This is the next expansion that I started working on. Over here, we've got a pyrolyze oven processing the charcoal byproducts. Moving down these lines here. I'm still debating on how I want to decorate. I would like to have some sort of roof. I do like that there's some verticality to the build, and we can see some stuff in the background. You know, we can see our original platform back there. The one downside to running stuff on a server is the render distance usually gets turned down quite a bit. I can turn it up, but then you just start running into some issues with having as much memory as you need to be able to run stuff like that. Over here, we actually made nitrobenzene, or make nitrobenzene, and that's going into a turbine here, which is making a decent amount. of power. I can reach that. Can I reach that? There we go. So taking a look at our network, it's actually full. And we're currently outputting 430,000 forge energy per tick, which is roughly about 110. Well, it's quadruple, so what, 1.2 million? I can never remember which way it goes. It's less, right? It's less for EU. So 100,000 EU per tick. Some more turbines over here running off of nitrobenzene just with a wireless connector set up. And then the new expansion that I talked about, we built on a stream, I have been working on, and that is over here. And this platform here is actually as big as the round platform we were on and the other large platform that we expanded on. So I've been building a lot over here, working on some processes. I started laying out some more solar panels. So we'll come down here. So I've got some individual subnets set up. Over here, I want to do on this kind of spot, we're going to do ore processing. So I started laying out some machines, some washers here, macerator, getting that stuff set up. I was running pretty low on blackstone, so I've got a rock breaker here and an igneous extruder. So we've got a decent amount of blackstone. The rock breaker is pretty fast. It makes like 1 blackstone every tick, so 20 blackstone a second, which is pretty good. But I feel like the igneous extruder is a little bit faster. Over here, I set up some new blast furnace arrays. So these are quad EBFs set up. There's 4 EBFs in each array, and they are all working off of a single input. There is a double shared input for the fluid or the gas, and then double shared outputs as well. So I've got these guys hooked up to storage monitors so we can see what they're making and how much we have. I've got one here that doesn't have any, doesn't have a recipe automated through it yet. I switched out our vacuum freezer setup, so there's a tag export bus here, just saying, hey, export all the hot ingots into this interface, which is connected to 7 storage buses on the input hatches for these vacuum freezers. And between the storage buses and this interface, it's using exactly 8 channels, which means it does not need a controller. So these guys we're probably not going to see kick on because our blast furnace back there are full. Oh, there we go. One of them kicked on. Excellent. It's probably silicon because our silicon is constantly being made. Over here, I got into setting up these multi-block banks. So what I want to do for this new area of the base is set up as many multi-blocks as I can and as few single blocks as I can. So over here, we've got the dusts for everything that's in these EBFs over here. So these are mixers. Over here, we're going to get to those in a minute. Over here, I've got benders. And what I'm actually doing here is bringing in a main net connection and then connecting to a subnet. And then each one of these is wall sharing. And then there's input buses on the front and on the back here. And then there's an output bus in the center, and I'm controlling it through these limiters here, these threshold limiters. And actually, it looked like there was items in here, this HSLA unit. We're making plates. Do I not have HSLA plates? Interesting. Did I turn this off? What is it here? Oh, looks like I had turned it off for some reason. So we've got plates and double plates. The one thing that you just need to make sure that you do is set up distinct buses. So when you set the circuit settings, like HSLA gets used in a bender on circuit 1 for single plates and circuit 2 for double plates. So you just have to make sure that you specify that. So there's some benders there. Over here, there's some lathes. Here, I've got some single block machines, some assemblers, some extractors, stuff like that, things that don't have a multi-block version just yet. And then I've got storage set up for these areas as well. So there's a bank of drawers there and a bank of drawers over here. So that's got all of our dusts that we need or that we use and that we're making for the EBFs. I'm actually curious, why is HSLA not working? I'm out of Invar dust, apparently. Okay. So coming over here to this side, I set up a whole bunch of chemical reactors. So these ones currently are set up making sulfuric acid. We'll see that come through and happen really fast. These are set up for netherrack and endstone. But again, these guys are just controlled through the top. I do have the sulfuric acid set up on a limiter and the netherrack and endstone set up on limiters as well. So basically what happens when we hit 2048 on the upper side, the signal is going to turn off. And then when we drop below 1024, it's going to turn back on. And what that's doing is actually turning off this toggle bus so this interface won't work. You can see at the top it says device offline. That's because this system is off. So we've got endstone and netherrack automated. These are extruders. These have to be automated a little bit different. So you have to put the extruder mold in there. But other than that, it works basically about the same. I do have on the top, I've got robot arms set to limit 16 inputs at a time. And that's so when these guys are, when the input bus is pulling them in, we're not going to like super overshoot what is capable of storing. So I've got a limiter set up. I believe it's 128 gears and 64 on the lower side. Over here, on this little node right here, is the sub network for all of these things over here. This is where the main subnet is coming in. This controller setup here isn't doing anything, but the white cables come in from here, from our main net. And I can actually click on this and highlight that. So if we take a look over there, the cable connection is coming through next to this. And then each one of these is connected to one of those because the wireless connectors can pass through channels. So what we're doing here is saving in the subnet. We actually save a ton of channels. So over here, there's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21 channels that we would be pulling off of our controller. But running a subnet actually makes it so that it's actually only pulling one channel off. So this is an interface from the white network. This storage bus here is looking at this interface. This interface represents everything that's available on the white network. So when this controller network here, when this interface is requesting 16 stainless steel, it's pulling it from this interface right here. I don't have to put stainless steel in here. It's actually just looking at the entire white network, going, where's the stainless steel? Give me 16 of it. So that's the way that guy is set up there. And this is where I plan to do the newest expansion into the base. These blocks here on the outer edge, if I need to, you can see I've already done it over here. I'll expand mixers vertically. If we run out of bender space, that'll be vertical. So we've got the mixer, the bender, the lathe, the extruder. I'll put down some more stuff like centrifuges, electrolyzers, the autoclave, the wire mill. The wire mill will be one that'll go down very soon, and the large macerator. Those will be things that we'll need. And these are the Cube JS upgrades. So we take like an HV, we hit it with the multi-block upgrade kit, and that converts it into a large version of the machine that we can put different inputs on. So that will be our kind of game plan going forward with this new platform, is expanding vertically. Like when I need more EBFs, I'm going to stack them up here. And actually, this center platform here is going to house this center glass area is going to house the centerpiece for this platform, which will be the alloy blast furnace. So that will be this guy here. And we're actually going to flip this on its side as well. I just like the way they looked flipped on their side. So those will be flipped on their side, and it'll actually reach across. We'll be able to wall share and control them similar to the way that these guys work here. So we'll have an ABS flipped on one side with the top on one side, ABS flipped on the other direction with it sharing the top blocks. Not for any particular reason other than space and it trying to look cool. Me trying to make it look cool. All right, so the work today is going to take us down the road to getting the HPIC chip, and that's what we need to be able to make our IV energy hatch. The IV dynamo hatch, and this other thing that we're not going to get into. But some transformers, stuff like that. These are going to be some useful things here in the future. What we need to do is get some purified galena and purified sphalerite. We are going down this line here. So we need to make indium concentrate, indium oxide, indium dust, and then indium gallium phosphide. So I've got these guys set up here, and we need to input the crushed ore and water. I'm going to use water because we can use it in distilled water to get other outputs, but I'm not really concerned about the sulfur and the stone dust. We can get those in a different way. We could treat it in mercury. We could treat the galena in mercury for some silver, but I'm not really, like I said, concerned about that very much. Here we could get yellow garnet. I don't know that that's useful, or we could get zinc. We got a ton of zinc. The yellow garnet, we might like centrifuge for andradite, grossular, and uvarovite. Uvarovite. These do have some things like oxygen, stuff like that we could get out, but I don't know that it's very necessary. So we need some input buses and input hatches. We'll take 2 of those guys, 2 hatches, and then we are going to be getting the output from those. So we're going to do input, input, output. Input, input, output, and maintenance hatches. So setting up these banks of machines is just a lot of this. Putting down stuff, getting stuff filled out. So those are full. We're going to need some interfaces. Now this is just going to be a completely passive thing. I don't think I'm going to level emit it. I think I'll probably level emit. Maybe I will level emit on it. So that's an input. We're going to need cables. Also going to need our painter, our wireless connection kit, some energy cables. We might need our functional storage tools. We could grab a white cable. So what I'm going to do is take a wireless connection from over here and get that placed over here. So we'll just place that guy there. Pull that connection. Let's change this to white. Actually, I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to use one from over here, and we're going to make it light blue. So that guy's going to be light blue. Connect to him. That one. Then over here, we'll get some connections placed down. And I need dense cables. Do I have any dense cables? I've got some colored dense cables. We'll use light blue. And got these. I'll just paint them the color that we need. Light blue. And this guy's... Oh, I have been getting some rubber banding, which isn't too big of a deal. It's a little bit annoying. I'm not sure why it's happening. So we're going to level emit on these guys. So I need 2 toggle buses and 2 level emitters. Take a stack of those. Some redstone torches. So we're going to level emit like so. Paint those. They're light blue. That guy's light blue. So these are getting power. So I know that they're going to get water. So we're going to set those up for water. Excellent. And then on this side, we're going to say once you have, and this is going to be fast, so we'll just do it 128 and 64. Once you have on the upper range 128 and the bottom 64, you're going to turn off. And these purified ones can go in storage drawers over there. And that really should be just about everything that we need, other than a power cable, which I think I'm actually going to move to over here. Like so. And then we can hook up. Let's do an EV, not RV, EV 4-amp connector. Inverter. I thought that I had more of these. This is another one of those things that I need to get set up. The wire mills, that is. So this guy is going to go there. And then it gets a cable there. I need to put down our toolbox, get out our wire cutters, get that hooked up, and a flux point. Turn that on. And if we take that, and then over here, this guy takes crushed galena. Set that to a stack. This guy takes crushed sphalerite. Set that to a stack. And then these are going to be on circuit 2. That should happen like ultra quick. And that should turn off as well. Lena, once we get up to 128, now it's going to overshoot it, but yeah, we'll see that turn off. Perfect. Circuit 2. And that'll be totally fine. What I'm going to do is take those purified ores. Not purified. Purified. The galena sphalerite. Galena sphalerite. And that's our quest there. So now we need indium concentrate, which is going to be a mixer with sphalerite and galena and sulfuric acid. That's going to equal or create this indium concentrate, which will then go into a chemical reactor with oxygen and aluminum. Now our acid is not doing great, and I want to say that's because we are low on oxygen. Yes. Yes, our oxygen production is less than ideal. So over here, let's see. We're making this guy, so that's 2 inputs and a fluid input. Then that's going to output a fluid. So let's get, it's going to be an LV input. And I also need an input hatch. Do I have that over here? Put hatch. Yep. It's taking 2 buckets and then an output hatch. Like so. Now that is going to create a little bit of a problem. No, I can work around that. Okay, so we are going to regulate on the middle one. That's going to be an input bus, input hatch, and then over here, I'm going to do an output hatch right there. And that should be totally fine. This, I need to flip the opposite direction. Because I'm going to regulate the input for this off of these guys. So let's take our interfaces. Actually, I'm going to need a robot arm and a filter. So robot arm is going to go there. And then grab our screwdriver, pop a filter in there. We're going to say keep exact. And let's change this. I've got to right click this to 8 and 8. Import. And then if I put an interface on here, I can set that to that, that to that. Over here, we're going to need an interface with sulfuric acid. And over here, that's just an interface to having our output fluid go into there. Now that guy is going to go down. And from there, I'll control both of those. So let's see, threshold, level emitter, and a toggle bus. Toggle bus is going to go there. Threshold, actually, nope. Incorrect. Toggle bus goes there. No, yeah, that was right. And then we're going to regulate on this stuff. And if I have 8 buckets of this, turn off this signal. That should work just fine. I'm going to need a mixer, which is going to be this guy, and a kit. Going to need more of the Ovar casings. This stuff we have on passive. There we go. So that guy goes there, and then we click it. These are going to go down. This needs to be an energy hatch. Let's grab a maintenance hatch and an EV energy hatch. Maintenance hatch is going to go there. EV energy hatch goes there. That goes there. And this is going to be indium concentrate, and lock that. Whoops. It automatically locks. Okay, perfect. We'll get our cables hooked up. Plug it in so that's got power. This does not work on a circuit, so all I should need to do is plug it in, and it should start working. Once it gets 2 buckets of sulfuric acid, there we go. And then in this interface, we're actually going to see the indium concentrate because I do not have a fluid. Whoops. I don't know everything that I just put away. What was all that? Interfaces? No. I don't know what it was. It's in the system, though. No big deal. So I need fluid drives and a 1Ks. This is another automation that I need to set up. And this needs to go in a canner, which I have over here. Pop those in there. So we'll take that. Head back over here. We're going to partition this drive for indium concentrate. And then we're going to rename it indium concentrate. Indium concentrate. Fantastic. And we can pop that in there. We'll see that fill up. And then it's going to turn off. Yep. So now that's offline. So it's not going to be chewing up sulfuric acid. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, let's paint these. Let's paint them the real color they're supposed to be. And that one, supposed to paint a blue, not light blue. So we've got that indium concentrate. And now this gets used in a chemical reactor with aluminum, indium concentrate, and oxygen. And we're going to get out 3 of these things. This lead zinc solution is going to go directly into a centrifuge. The aluminum sulfite will go into an electrolyzer. Indium oxide, that also goes into an electrolyzer. So let's do this. Indium. It needs... Ooh, this is going to be a beefy chemical reactor. Because I need an input. Maybe I should set this up over here. Actually, it'll work okay here on the end. Yeah, that'll be totally fine. Because that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So actually, yes, that's going to work out perfect. So I need an LV output. I always skip the T in LV output. So LV output bus, like so. Gonna need a ULV output hatch times 2. Yes. And then our inputs. 1 for the item, and then 2 hatches for the fluids. Oh, I didn't mention it, but I upgraded our drill to a tungsten carbide drill because we got tungsten carbide now. So let's see, input bus, input hatch, output bus, output hatch, output hatch. Perfect. And this, we'll take these two. You're going to be lead zinc solution. You're going to be diluted sulfuric acid. The input hatches. That's an output bus. And that's going to be this indium oxide and aluminum sulfite. So let's save those so I don't get lost. And then our inputs here, 2 aluminum, the indium, and the oxygen. And let's see. Let's regulate this on the indium oxide dust. Let's grab cables. Fantastic. These are going to be interfaces. I always forget my toolbox. Where did I leave it? Right here. Okay, so toolbox for the wrench. These input buses, that's what I'm going to regulate it on. So again, actually the input hatch, I guess. This one's going to be indium concentrate. This is going to be oxygen. This is going to be aluminum. I do have a ton of aluminum, so that's okay. So, did I grab a robot arm already? Drawing a complete blank here. It does not look like it. So here's what we're going to do. This is going to get connected. I need anchors. Do I have them here? I do have them here. So we're going to separate that out because that doesn't need to go into there. I need a toggle bus again, and a level emitter. We're going to put a level emitter there, toggle bus there. We're going to say, hey, when you have indium, when you have, what does this get used for? The mixer, indium, tin, lead, cadmium, indium, gallium, and indium, tin, barium. There's a couple of different things there it gets used for. Indium, tin, oxide. Okay. So when you have 512, 256, that's what I want you to regulate off of. Okay. So that goes there, and that goes there. And we should see this actually fill with the indium concentrate. Excellent. This already has aluminum. It does not have aluminum because I did turn that. So I want to change this to stocking. Keep exact 2, right? Yes, 2. Import. Yep, there's 2. And then if I hook this guy up, we should see this kick on once this gets enough oxygen, which might take it a little while. It's not getting any oxygen. Oh, there's some. Boom, there we go. That's going to run for 12 seconds. Great. Okay, so the link lead zinc solution. I don't know why. I just keep saying link. Indium oxide, aluminum sulfite, and diluted sulfuric acid. I don't know why I tried to say that so weird. So we need centrifuges. An electrolyzer, centrifuge, and the diluted sulfuric acid that's already being processed somewhere, I believe. I think I might have a distillery set up running this. Maybe. Okay, so electrolyzer, centrifuge. So the electrolyzer, gonna need 2 of those. I might even have some. I do have 2. Look at that. And let's say for now, how fast is the electrolyzer? It's very fast, 1.5 seconds. So I could probably get away with a smaller bank of electrolyzers, but I don't think I want to do that. So let's get some electrolyzers set up. I have to move these solar panels over here. And I want, what does the electrolyzer look like? It's blue. I guess that's going to match that pretty decently. Okay. Now the electrolyzer uses this duralium casing. Haven't made any of this yet, but we do have the resources to do it. So we're going to put that guy there. We're going to grab out our building gadget in build to me mode, which is going to be that. Doing this, bam. Guess I'll get the opportunity to show you how I set up these banks of machines. Need kits. I'm actually going to get some more electrolyzers anyway. And these I can actually share patterns. So let's get these guys set up. Energy hatches. And these just get filled in. I'm actually going to put them on top here too, because our inputs and outputs are going to be on the center slice. There we go. From there, we're going to need wireless connectors, and I'm going to put those on the center block. And let's see, am I running this off of a subnet? No, I'm not going to run it off of there, so I'm actually going to not need that. This guy is going to connect here. That needs to be, that's already painted. Yep, that needs to be white. That's going to go there, interface there, cable there. Blue. Grab a controller. That goes there, and a storage bus. That's going to go there. Over on this side, once I grab my toolbox, on this side, it's getting a point. And then an EV 16 amp converter is going to go right there. And then we're going to pull our cable across. Not that far. Right there. And then we need to hook these up to power. Perfect. Then over here, dense cables. Blue will be fine. I need some more. So let's just do that. Grab a stack. One more. There we go. Paint them all blue. And let's see. The first electrolyzers that we're going to be using are going to be these guys. So let's grab input buses times 2 and an output bus. Input, output. Sweet. These guys are going to get flipped the opposite direction. And then I need robot arms. Actually, because these don't get used for anything, I don't need to flip them. They're just going to go in there, and this guy is going to get that. This guy is going to actually... I could just load it up. No, I'm going to keep them separate, like so. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay, so that's going to get electrolyzed into indium. Ooh, I need another output. There's going to be an item and a fluid. So here we'll do an output bus. We'll use MV, right? Or should I use LV? MV, 3 buckets, 9 buckets. LV output hatch, wooden barrel. That'll be fine. There, like so. And I should just be able to hook this up. Okay. All right. So if we take a look, we have some indium, right? And that's being processed here. Diluted sulfuric acid. We got a ton of that. We got a ton of this lead zinc solution. And we need centrifuges now. So let's grab 7 of these. Let's grab the Tumbaga casing. I had some already. Take a big chunk of that. We're going to put centrifuges over here. You can see it's pretty quick for me to just set up a big chain of these. Gonna need kits. I need maintenance hatches. And EV hatches. Go. And these systems will be really easy to upgrade to IV in the future. Before we get into like the larger, more complex multi-blocks. That guy goes there. Cable. Where'd my interfaces go? Did I put them away? Nope, just ran out. So interface, storage, bus, cable, controller. Toolbox. Not wrench, point. Energy converter. See, I got this down to a pretty quick science now. Not sure if I got enough cables to reach. Oh, and I'm out of cables too. Did I leave some in here? I did. Perfect. Wire cutters. There we go. All right, let's see. Now this guy is going to get used in a centrifuge, so it's going to need one input and two outputs, one of each. Input hatch. And then output hatch and LV output bus. So input, output, output. That input is just going to be this stuff. The outputs just go back into the system. Like so. Okay, I'm not going to see this guy kick on because I don't have lead zinc solution set. Whoops, went too far. But we grab this other fluid cell and partition it for lead zinc solution. And pop it in there. We'll see it fill up. Maybe. Where was that at? That was here. Oh, I don't have it hooked up, actually. So let's do cable anchor. That's going to go there. And then those are going to get pulled in. Those get pulled in. The diluted sulfuric acid does not. Okay. So I thought that I had that set up over here somewhere. What do you use? Sulfuric acid? And I think you're making... Benzene gets used in a chemical reactor. And I want to say it makes diluted sulfuric acid. Yes. So this input hatch can actually just be connected. And if I get a pump, not one of those, let's get an HV pump would be fine. And I do that and change it to import. And I put you as diluted sulfuric acid. And then hook you up like that. We'll see this come online at some point, but I do need to store the diluted sulfuric acid. So again, this is another thing that I need to passive fluid cells. I think we're going to be using a lot more fluid cells. So let's do this. Boom. Diluted sulfuric acid. Spell it correctly. Diluted sulfuric acid. Fantastic. Oh, gotta put it in the drawer. We'll see this pump fill up. And then we should see this guy running. No, that's on that network. So we're not going to see that run. But if I connect it to the blue network, I will see it run. So let's section that off, and that is getting a little dire wiry, but that's all right. That's going to go there. Connect you to you. Now we should see this kick on. 8 seconds. Wow. Pretty slow. Okay. So in the future, upgrading that would be a good idea. But now this guy's running. We should oops. I want to do that. This gets used in an electrolyzer. Okay, so what is the problem here? Why are you not working? MV. Output hatch. Output. Oh, I need a different output bus. We need an LV output bus. Because it doesn't have enough slots to be able to output. Now, yep, there we go. Now we'll see it turn on. Sulfur and oxygen. Perfect. And this is really super fast. That's why it's kind of stuttering like that. Now I did get... Oh, here we go. Indium. Okay, so we got that, right? The indium oxide dust. We're not getting that, so let's turn this off and actually wait to get some of this. We're just waiting on oxygen, right? Yeah. So I need to ramp up oxygen, which means I can also use this guy over here because, right? Is it centrifuging? Back. Up. Hit F11. Silicon dioxide. Electrolyze that into silicon and oxygen. So that's actually going to be over here. And let me see. So I'm going to need an input bus. And actually, how quick is this? So I'm going to go an LV input bus. And then it's going to share that output hatch, which should be fine. Silicon dioxide dust is going to go there. Let's make it really fast. And then I should just be able to do this and that. Separate that out. Put that down. I also need an output, right? Yes. An output bus for silicon. Input bus. Change that to an output bus. There we go. And then place an interface on there and a cable. There we go. Paint our cables. This guy is making oxygen every 3 ticks. Still a little bit slow. Or it's not slow, it's just not backing up. And that might just be that it's trying to fill up some buffers. We're staying pretty topped up on silicon dioxide, so that's good. I'm not sure how long that'll last, though. We're burning through a ton of oxygen. If anybody knows a good oxygen source, please pass it along. I have been having issues with oxygen. But heading back over here to this guy, we should be able to take out some of this indium oxide dust. It's not going to run. What was it? An electrolyzer? Yeah, indium oxide's coming from the chemical reactor. So that should be coming out into here at some point. Why is this not running? It's not getting oxygen? Oh, I put a cable anchor down on there by mistake. That's why it's not working. There we go. So now this guy should come through here. Once it kicks off over there, once it finishes. There we go. Boom. Indium oxide. That's a quest. And then indium dust. I can turn that back on. Boom. Fantastic. And then the indium gallium phosphide. That's in another mixer. Perfect. So we don't need to save any of that. That's coming over here. So we just need an input and an output. Let's get the Kovar casing because I should just have this set up over here. One more. Maintenance hatch. Those are going to go here. Wonderful. More casing is going across the back like that. All right. EV energy hatch. Not that way. That way. Okay, wonderful. The mixer. Do I have it down here still? I don't. Mixer. How many is it? 4. And then the kit. There we go. Okay, indium gallium phosphide. It's 1 input, 1 output. Input bus. We're going to get an LV. And then an output bus. Look at that. Perfect. Going to input this side, output. These need placed there. Those are going to connect. Interfaces are going down. That's an input bus, which is going to get one of each of these. And I need a robot arm. And a filter. And I've got to flip this around. So I don't want it to pull in whatever it wants. Keep exact. 1, 1, 1. Import. I'm going to export that. Grab wire cutters and wire. And reach it. There we go. And I need a toggle bus and a threshold emitter. You guys know how it goes at this point. That guy gets hooked up. That's our output. Gonna toggle bus that. Level emit that. And then you are going to be indium gallium phosphide. And let's say 512, 256. Because this gets used. This gets used quite a bit. So let's do 1024. Not 10,000. Okay, and I should just be able to go that and put an anchor there. So that's got those. We just need to change this to 1. Let's change it to 1 and then go back. Because we need indium gallium phosphide. We're going to go ahead and throw that in a drawer. Now, this doesn't get into a blast furnace, right? So we'll just throw it there. Perfect. And let's see, what else? Anything else? Nothing else. Just trying to see if I want to change up these cables at all. I think they're okay. I don't really like it all that much, but that's all right. Let's change this back to 1. That's going to be running. And I actually think what I want to do is change this like 16. And then change this to 16. So it doesn't stutter anymore. Because it's operating in a 3-tick operation. Okay. Grab the toolbox. Indium gallium phosphide. Fantastic. And now what that's going to do is let us make, let's see. Need shellite wire. We get to the converter. The energy hatch is there. So what we're going to be working on next episode, because I feel like that's going to be a good ending point for this episode here. What we'll work on next episode is getting this HPIC chip, which will be simple because we're just going to, in a chemical reactor, put the MPIC wafer, indium gallium phosphide, and some liquid vanadium gallium. This I'll have to put down a an extractor to get, and then we need vanadium gallium ingots, which we can make in a mixer again. So more mixers, more blast furnace. I guess that's going to be the last one that's going to go here. But once again, if you guys are interested in playing on the server, I'm going to leave a Discord link in the description. We'll get joined into, or you'll get joined into the Discord. Oh, my screen was messed up since I hit F11 before. Get joined into the Discord, get on the member channel if you're interested in playing on the server together. We do have a couple of options. I think I pick one. I'm going to play around with it a little bit more, but we're either going to go with Money Factory or another one that might seem fun, and we can change it quickly in the future if we don't like the one that I do go with. But that's going to be it for today's episode. Thanks for stopping in.